Hi there. So let's talk about a very important topic today, which is salary negotiation. And it is really important, and I'll get into it soon. But before, let me share a bit of my story about my salary negotiations throughout my 15 years of IT career. So, the first time I had to start negotiating with my salary was when I was transiting between my first and second job. So at that time, I was actually in a project where, let's say that the environment, the team, the vibe of the project wasn't the best. So everyone was actually already looking for a change. So they were actually all starting to have interviews with other companies. And I remember at that time, I was still not very skilled with negotiations. So I was negotiating with a company, and then they gave me a salary. Let's say it's value X. And I was actually happy because, okay, it was already a bit more than what I was currently earning. So during a conversation with my fellow teammates, they actually shared that some of them were actually also having interviews with the same company. And one of them shared with me that, the company proposed the salary X for them. But then they negotiated a bit more. So they were actually proposed a bit more. And at that time, I was like, oh, I could actually get more of it. And I didn't really negotiate more. I just accepted what they proposed, and that's it. And you see, many people would think that, oh, what's wrong with me? Why didn't I get more? Why is the other person getting more? But sometimes it's just about the way we can negotiate, or if we are willing to actually ask for more. And we cannot let those thoughts, the negative thoughts, to get us stuck. So if I were to think that way, I would be stuck. I wouldn't know how to get more. But instead, I allowed it to be my motivation. So then, the next times when it comes to negotiation, I already was more prepared. So when we talk about salary and interview proposals that we could get with our teammates, it's actually a good thing because then we can share the information that we can get about the market salary range that we get to negotiate for our position, for our years of experience. And that's a good thing because many people would see it as a taboo, or then they are afraid of comparison that, oh, what if I'm having a less salary or less amount that I could negotiate and the other person has more, then I would feel bad. But no, don't let it stop you to actually exchange information and know what you can actually get in the market. And you see, in the next times that I negotiated, I was already more assertive and more confident. So I did my homework, which is getting to understand what ranges that I could negotiate here in Portugal for a developer's salary. Like at that time, it was medium, senior positions. And then when the companies, the recruiters, they come to me, I already have more and less of value. And then, of course, I had to also learn how to properly negotiate so that, for example, there are ways to negotiate better. That, for example, if they ask you what is the salary you have in mind, instead of you giving right away your salary range, your ideal salary range, sometimes it's better to actually ask them, there are a lot of different salary ranges across different companies. So in the case of this company, for this position, what range do you usually offer? So you put the ball on their side, and then they will give you usually a salary range, and then you can see, is it actually less than what I want? Then you can actually propose more and see if you can get more from them. And if not, and imagine if they actually give you a better value, then you're actually having more. So that if they can give more, and imagine if you give your salary range which is actually lower than what they are what they have to give, then they would just give you the salary range that you asked for, and then because then they have to just pay less. But if you let them tell you what is the range that they can give you, you might have a pleasant surprise. So there were times that when I was assertive and I didn't get an immediate yes. But the funny thing is that when I was assertive, you see, there was a case, for example, they asked me about my salary range. And then I actually gave them the salary, and I actually tried to have a little bit more because I was like, okay, let's see what they would tell me if I ask for a little bit more than I have in mind. And then they were saying, oh, this is too high, the current IT market wouldn't pay so much, etc. And I actually held my ground and I was saying, oh, okay, I understand, and etc. And then after hanging up, a few hours later, they called me again to continue with the interview process. And yeah, so you see, there are ways to negotiate. And what's important also is that we have the confidence and assertivity, that we do our homework to understand what is the range and how to negotiate. And then we just have more, when we have more confidence, they can sense it. Then we also need to learn how to position ourselves, because the more attractive, the more appealing we are to them, then the more they want to get a hold of us by appealing to us that they have nice benefits and nice salary for us. So how do we usually position ourselves? And I can tell you, when we learn how to position ourselves, then we actually turn things around. Because many people, we actually chase after recruiters and companies. So what we do is that we send lots of CVs, and like we send to this company, and then we wait for them to reply to us, and we hope for better. And then by the time that we land in an interview, we already position ourselves a little bit lower in the perspective of them perceiving us as valuable. So we subconsciously, because this is all subconscious and psychological. So by the time we land in an interview, we already have this subconscious dynamic in which we are the ones that will have to put in the effort and convince them why they should hire us. Here is my extensive experience, blah, blah, blah. But when we learn how to position ourselves, when we learn how to, put ourselves, expose ourselves out there in a smart way, instead of chasing, we will be the ones being chased. And I learned this with my IT career, is that when I learn how to, for example, put in my LinkedIn profile in the way that really talks to the recruiters, like showcasing my experiences that I know that will be valuable for them. So I highlight those experiences and projects that I've been with. Then they will, when they do the search in LinkedIn with the search engine, they will find me. And then they will look at my profile and, oh, this person has the experience and the skill sets that I want to have. And why is this better? Is because instead of you wasting energy in chasing after them, you actually conserve your energy and you save your energy and invest that energy in learning more, acquiring more of your skills, planning ahead your career, like reflecting, for example, on what kind of projects that you want to accept and what kind of projects that you might want to reject because that might not be beneficial for your curriculum. Yeah, because having a curriculum that makes sense, it's very important. So imagine a curriculum that is very dispersed in terms of the types of projects that you have been in. So imagine that you have been doing this kind of job, which you learn this kind of skill sets, but then the next job was about this, which has little to do with this. So when the recruiters look at your profile, then they will think, I want someone with this experience, but with more years. But this person has 10 years, but 5 years in this, 5 years in this, and I might have to pay a 10 years worth of seniority salary. But then this person only has 5 years of this, so maybe she's not the ideal profile for our position. You see what I'm trying to say? So when you are focused on building your profile, your curriculum, your experience, your expertise, your skill set, you are building more and more of your appeal and attractiveness, basically. So you putting out your profile and finding other ways to expose yourself, for example, through professional events, workshops, then you know people. You are already doing the maximum investment in what really matters. So it's almost like automatizing. So you are automatizing the attracting of recruiters. So recruiters would come to you by time while you have little effort to actually chase them. And this will turn things around because by the time that you land in an interview with them, when they are the ones who are chasing you, subconsciously they are already more sure that they want to get a hold of you, that they want to like have you in. Basically, they will be the ones wanting to convince you to work with them. And it all happens in a subconscious way. And so you see, it's not about being arrogant or, oh, I'm like superior and I'm the best and etc. They have to convince and chase me. It's more about conserving your energy and investing your energy, 80% of your energy, in the 20%. How do I use that term? Like, so basically investing most of your energy in something that will bring you the most return of value. So yeah, you see, this is very similar to dating. Like even in dating, like if you go out, let's say that you have, let's say that you use dating apps to find a special person. And during the dating app, imagine if you don't know how to, for example, write the description of yourself, take the proper photos of yourself. And if you don't know how to expose yourself out there in a smart way that attracts the kind of man that you want to attract, the kind of partners that you want to attract, then you're not really like attracting the ones that might be more compatible with you. And then you would have to be the one trying to swipe all the time and then see if you can really find someone that can match. And when you finally find them out of hundreds of people, they might still look at your profile and I don't know. if this is the woman that would be ideal for me, because because you're not exposing the things that they might find appealing and that, oh, she's compatible with me. So you see, it's very important to learn this. And this is a little bit about the masculine and feminine dynamic as well. When you're in it's important to have both. And when you're too much in your masculine energy, let's say, then you are just chasing after all the opportunities, going after every recruiter that you can find and see if anything lands. But you have to learn how to use the feminine energy, power, to actually make things easier, to have people come to you instead of going after them. And it's also important, you see, back to negotiation. This is also another thing why learning how to negotiate is so important. Because how you learn how to negotiate has an impact on how they perceive you. Let me use an example. Like many things. For example, when you buy things, when you see something that is like almost free, like imagine free stuff, you wouldn't value as much as something that you might have to pay actually a lot for those things. There is a psychological effect that when the price is higher, you actually see like in some way that, oh, there must be something there, that the price is there, confidently put like that high. So when you are negotiating, imagine that especially when you start your career, you might have like interviews, and then they ask you about the salary. And many people at the beginning of their career, they would be like, oh, salary doesn't matter. I am fine. I just want to learn. I am so eager to work with you guys. And while it shows enthusiasm, which is good, enthusiasm is good, that you are willing to learn, you're eager to work with them, and etc. That actually gives you what I call the peasant vibe. Yeah, and you see, people might see you as, okay, this one is eager to work with us. But the problem is that then you're just one of many people who are willing to do so. Just like dating. When you are like, oh, I am this and this, and I am willing to adjust when you have free time, etc. Then people would have they wouldn't feel so appealed to 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 have you basically. But when you are confident enough that you actually know your value and you say, okay, my salary range would be this, or maybe that you ask them first what are their salary range for their company for this particular position, and then they tell you, and then you say that, oh, I actually had a higher salary in mind, but I am willing to negotiate in terms of benefits, in terms of learning. Maybe the company have, for example, platforms for certifications, for courses. And so you see, when you are willing to negotiate, when you are willing to have a standard to what you are willing to accept, and not in an arrogant way, just in a confident that I know my value and I know that this value is important for me, then people subconsciously, they will put you on a higher level of perception of value. And they will feel that, okay, this one has a level of confidence, then she must be a good professional. Then you will actually stand out in that way, especially if many people, they don't really know their worth or negotiate. And I can tell you, many people, even in IT, they often don't have this confidence that they could have, because IT is such a field that we often, especially developers, we get to negotiate what we want, basically. But throughout my career, I found a few coworkers that they were actually lacking the confidence to negotiate. And I'll give you an example. I remember that when I was already on a senior position, senior developer, and once I was in this project where almost everyone was from outsourcing, which means that, for example, outsourcing is like company A has a project. And because this project might last for a few months only, then they want to have a team that is assembled, but that this team can be disassembled without moving their own internal employees. So they will hire other employees from other companies, which and this is through outsourcing. So I was in this team as someone from outsourcing, and then there were other people from outsourcing as well. And during talks during conversations where each shared about their salaries, I realized that the other colleague, he was only earning 2/3 of what I was earning. And instead of letting this be an inspiration that, oh, okay, I can actually get more, right? Because, well, for me, it would be an inspiration. Like, of course, I wouldn't feel very good at the beginning, but then my Chinese genes would be like, okay, I can actually earn more. I want more. So instead of letting that be an inspiration, he was like, oh, maybe I'll wait for when I get married, after I get married, after this, after that I will change jobs or negotiate or etc. And that was such a shame because I have encountered more colleagues who earned more or less 2/3 of what I have been earning in those moments. And I was actually hoping that they could have the confidence. And often it really is our confidence that is in the way of us being able to negotiate more. And it's so important. It's so important for us to know our worth and know how to ask because, see, besides the perception that an employer has about us when we are willing to ask for what we feel we are worth with confidence, it also has an impact on our lives and our jobs because when we don't have to worry about finances, when we feel more relaxed in life, we are naturally more creative because you see, if I have to worry about, oh, I have to pay the bills, I don't have money that lasts in my bank account until the end of the month, I'm struggling. Oh, if I get sick, I struggle to pay a few bucks to health care, to get immediate health care, then all of this will stay occupying my mind. Like, so the mind space mostly occupied by survival worries, then I wouldn't be creative because then I don't have time and mind space to think about other things, to think about what I really enjoy. And this has an impact at our day job because when we are free from those worries, we naturally are more focused on our day jobs when we are working, for example, and we are naturally in a better mood. We naturally want to think about creative ways for our problems because then we don't feel overwhelmed. Because imagine if you're already overwhelmed with your life problems, and then you go to work already stressed, like already and then you see this work problem then it's adding more to your nervous system. And then then I don't want to look at anything. And then you might like space out. And yeah, you are just like working in an like automatic, like you're running automatically, but like checked out. So you're just working and then, oh, I'm so tired. I just want to sleep and all, and then coffee and all. You see, all this loop is not really good. So at the end of the day, it will affect your productivity if you don't have a life that have enough stability and comfort. And when you have money, you can also invest in yourself when you're out of work. You can, for example, invest in learning more, books, courses, like courses on negotiation, which is a good thing, courses on working on your soft skill, like courses on working on how to have be a better professional, depending on your area of profession. Yeah, learning, like having the money to invest, because if you're depending on your employer to give you the courses and certifications, they might do that when they see fit and not because you want it. And you might want to have a more autonomy in deciding what is good for your career, right? So when you have the money, you can decide what you want to learn. So yeah, let's negotiate better. Let's have more negotiation power. And it's important, ladies, that we talk about money, that we talk more about it, that we leave the taboo aside, we share information to empower each other. And yeah, don't be afraid to negotiate. Don't be afraid to talk about money. So let's have more fun also and have more money in our lives. So my name is Monica and welcome to Blooming Feminine Academy. And if you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe and stay tuned for me to share more content. And yeah, see you later. Bye.